cinnamon on it.
Cinnamon.
Oh.
Well, we're live. Hey, everybody. Welcome. Today is Friday, and we're doing a very different episode than we normally do. Usually here at Valiant, we do kind of heavy tech topics, wireless, and really kind of deep diving into things. But today we're doing something a little more fun, a little more relaxed. So what we're doing is just kind of talking about the fact that we've been pretty much stuck indoors for the past month, give or take, depending on where you live and kind of your housing situation. And so what we thought we'd do is spend a couple minutes just talking about things that we found that works for us for staying busy indoors. And we brought a special guest, Phil Buck, who goes by many names. He's ubiquitous out on the internet, and he's going to be out there talking about sort of stuff. So, what we love is if you guys want to jump on some Q&A, live questions, we'd love to answer them. And what I'm going to do is say thanks. So I'm going to introduce Phil. I'll kind of go all over the place here. Sorry, Matt. Hot mess. It's Friday. So I'm going to introduce Phil, that you haven't met before. Phil is a creator. He does YouTube streams. He's a musician. He's a founder of Nematode Records, and he basically live streams basically every day, from what I understand. Is that all right? Is that functionally what you do, Phil?
In some capacity, sure. Yeah, I almost stream every day now that you put it that way.
It's funny. Like we only started a couple weeks ago since it all kind of happened, and we found it's so much work. In preparation, getting ready to go, discussing the topics, it gets heated, especially we have a lot of personalities in Valiant and just everywhere, and it's hard. And you don't appreciate it until you do it. I think you don't understand it. It's like a show, like when you act, no one gets it until it looks effortless. But
when you're streaming, you get to do both the technology side and the personality side. So just before we started this one, for some reason my browser, I tried both Firefox and Chrome and couldn't get them to get in. So it's just like, nobody even sees that part of the stream. It's
right.
Camera set up, microphone set. No. Okay. Well, Here we are live. How's it going?
Awesome. We're lucky. We have Matt, who is our expert here, who's kind of running with this as fast as possible. He's done a great job of getting our streams online and getting, and just us working out here and it's getting some stuff. So with that being said, we're going to dive right in. After we kind of so stuck indoors, that's our topic today. What do you do? How do you keep yourself from losing your mind or just being bored and just kind of eating?
That's my
man, that was at the top of my list.
Mine too.
One of our I'm going to shout out to Andrew Kwasny, who's out in he's our procurement manager and making a lot of bread, a lot of carbs. That's been kind of what we're doing here in my house. My daughter has been cooking bread, and it's awesome. And I eat pounds and pounds of just homemade bread with butter, and I'm like, oh, God, I can't do it. So
I can't wait to edit this and just put the GIF of George saying making that bread.
Making that bread. So anyway, I think we kind of have a little bit of structure here. Not really, but it's more conversation. But one of the things we did was things to do while you're online. We spent a lot of time online, but what do you guys been doing online? Keeping yourself occupied?
Well, obviously having the technology is actually still able to connect to people. My birthday was actually this Monday, and we did a Zoom meeting and we played Jackbox games. If you've never played it, go get it. Drawful 2 is free on Steam and is only 10 cents on Nintendo Switch. But basically we just screen shared, and then we did things that were Quiplash is kind of like Cards Against Humanity, but not quite. And Drawful is basically Pictionary, but everyone's playing remotely. Everyone's playing on their phones and answering their answers, so it's kind of secret. And that's what we did for my birthday, and it was super fun.
That sounds like a lot of fun.
Happy birthday.
Cool. Yeah.
Marianne, my dad's birthday was also Monday, which we talked about, but we also used a Zoom platform. The family's all quarantined up all over the country. And I had to learn how to share sound with everyone through Zoom.
There's a button.
Yeah.
So helpful tips. If you need to share sound for some reason, there's a check mark you have to press before you share. You can't do it after you share your screen.
Marianne has a lot of content on our website, everyone, by the way.
Go. That's another day. But go to
Yeah.
right here and find it.
So we had a dance. My dad loves to dance. We had a dance party. We played his 3 favorite songs. It took 10 minutes. I could see my family dancing. So I just want to say, like, as far as like, it doesn't even have to be like a full meet. Like, you can have 10 minutes of connection. So
yeah,
birthday celebration.
Yeah.
One
Actually,
go ahead.
Oh, go ahead. I was actually, it was my daughter's birthday yesterday, and we did a virtual happy birthday, and everyone, we had a cake, and a friend of hers had a cake there, and we had candles there, candles here, so definitely same kind of thing. So, and then we did a slideshow on Shutterfly of all things, and they have a pretty cool platform, and it was actually fascinating to see her be, a baby, and now she's 16. So it's kind of crazy.
It's not related to a birthday, but the one that we've been doing is using it's a Chrome plugin called Netflix Party, and that lets you like a bunch of people get together online and go to Netflix, and it generates a link, and then it syncs up Netflix across everybody, so you're watching the same thing at the same time.
So you're not going, oh my god, and the person's like, I didn't get there yet.
It's all synced up. Sometimes it's a half-second off, but
I like that.
Yeah, I mean, you can watch your Tiger King that way. You can like dive in. Cool cats and kittens.
We're doing bad horror movies.
Okay, that's good. Sharknado kind of like
that kind of stuff.
Okay.
Killer Clowns from Outer Space.
What?
Killer Clowns from Outer Space.
Oh, I don't know if it's on. Is that on Netflix?
I don't know, but it needs to be now.
If it is, we'll watch it. And
I love that movie growing up.
To that, set up a Zoom or Facebook or something for video on another machine, so that you can do both. So you're watching everything at the same time, and then you can talk to each other too. Yeah. And that's been fun.
Yeah. Well, Megan's dance party made me. Phil, you made a suggestion before we started this about making your own music video, and you guys don't even have to be like on the same time. I really like that suggestion. I immediately sent that to my friends. Did you want to talk about like?
I wish I could say it was my original video, but I think it's something everybody should think about doing, because we saw a bunch of like musicians doing it, so their video was very cool, because like basically the whole time they are just dancing along to one song that's been, somebody chopped all their videos together to one, but you're just seeing like, that's that guy from that band, and that's, I think there was like a big jam band one, but then there was like a bigger one with just all kinds of musicians in it. Like I think some of the.
I'm sorry, I didn't mean to interrupt.
Oh, I was just saying that we love Krang Ben, and we saw some of their musicians in the one I was referencing. So yeah, I think we had actually talked to our group of friends, and we were like, we should totally do this, but I think we're still trying to pick a song is where we're hung up. So.
That's what I was thinking. At first I was like, oh, Work From Home. What's that song that was released? And it's like the anthem. But then I was like, yeah, I don't want to dance to that.
Yeah.
And like, I don't want to splice together a video of all my friends booty shaking. So, but we did make, we could use we've been making Valiant playlists. So maybe we could, suggest those songs and pick those songs. But everyone just record themselves either on their phone or on their laptop, and then send it to your friend who has video editing software, and they can splice it together. So you got one friend who to the other, and then
you be popping and locking in little boxes and streaming media. I love it.
Yeah.
Do you guys have a recommendation for video editing software to use? Like I'm thinking, if you don't have anything, or just something easy or cheap or free.
I think the easiest ones, if you are a Mac user, is probably something like iMovie, because I think it's going to be included and free, and pretty straightforward for just cutting things together. If you want to get a little more complicated, I love all the Adobe stuff, so I use Premiere and After Effects a lot. But that's going to cost a little money. So it just depends on what you're doing, I guess.
Right.
Speaking of Adobe and video editing and music, why don't we show a clip of one of Phil's videos real quick?
Yeah.
Sure.
It's all about staying home. It's very much on topic. It's some good stuff. So watch this.
For the menu, then I got you, fam. We gon' hit the showcase showdown, so we going to your staying home. And that we chillin', ain't going to work today. Hell no, we staying home. And that we chillin', ain't going to work.
That's great.
I was dancing.
It's appropriate.
It's great.
It's unfortunately much more timely than it was ever intended. I mean, the original joke behind the song is, I don't know if this is a common experience for you guys, but like, you know, I think that it was inspired by the days if I was like probably somewhere like in middle school to high school range where you stayed home, but you were old enough to, you know, you're watching The Price is Right, and you probably got McDonald's breakfast and just, you know, that's it. You know, that's your whole day.
Pretty much.
Yeah.
Middle school. Yeah.
Price is Right really was so good when you were sick. You just put it on.
Yeah,
It was.
Same without Bob Barker.
Better than chicken soup.
Get that special microphone, that little skit. Oh, it's great. It's so
And always please spay and neuter your pets.
Yeah.
Exactly. No fur. It's always good.
Well, speaking of pets.
Yeah, pets.
This
Oh,
is my
it's great.
segue.
Yeah.
We also want to talk about stuff you can do offline, because I don't know about you guys, but eye strain is real. I think yesterday I spent too much time on the computer because I started getting a headache towards the end of the day, and I was like, oh God.
Yeah.
But the reason I said speaking of pets is one of the things that I do as my offline thing is I teach my dog new tricks. Old dog, new tricks.
Whoa.
He can roll over now. He can play dead.
Oh,
Wow.
wow.
It's pretty good,
We
actually.
have to do special guest star Cappy one of these days.
Oh, I could grab him. Hang on.
What is the new trick?
Well, it's just roll over and play dead. We do the
Okay.
like bang bang.
Oh,
Nice.
nice.
Well, I want to
Pretty
teach
good.
my dog a new trick, so I was just going to see if I could use one of yours, and I don't think we've taught him to play dead yet, so that's good.
Yeah. Yeah, that
That's-
one's fun.
That's a good one.
Yeah, he just rolls over on his side.
That's good, that's it. Did you give him like little treats when he does it, or is it
Yeah,
like,
we have a big milk bone jug of
Okay.
like the tiny treats, 'cause he's a small dog.
he's a little guy.
He is tiny, yeah.
He's still a guy. So besides teaching dogs new tricks, one thing we've been doing in our house is a lot of cooking. As much as that, making bread, which we kind of came up with multiple. I talked to multiple people here about bread. I mean, I said it earlier about making bread. We're cooking bread. Today we're starting a sourdough starter, which we're very excited about.
Because there's no yeast anywhere.
There's no yeast anywhere available.
Oh, I've got the perfect no yeast bread recipe. It's I can't bake. I'm a terrible baker, but I can do this, and it's the easiest thing. So it's like 3 cups of flour. Which one is the smaller one? Baking soda or baking powder? Whichever one is the little more. Not
It's
the
a
one you
critical
put in the,
mistake to make in baking.
Yeah,
not the one you put in the fridge. The other one.
Baking powder.
Powder.
Baking powder. All right. So
Yeah.
just a little bit of baking powder and a can of beer. That's it. Mix it up.
Oh, nice.
And then just bake it until it looks like bread, and you put a little butter on the top and there you go. And depending on the beer that you use, it comes out way different, but you don't have to worry about yeast. It doesn't have to rise because it's got all the carbonation in it. And it's if you do like a dark beer, it's great to go with soup. I've been doing that. So I've been doing crock pot soup and then dark beer bread to go with it.
Sounds pretty good. All right.
Oh,
As far as cooking and being outside goes, I hope that people are taking the advantage of the weather, because it's been beautiful here. Even though, we're stuck inside, the rest of the world seems normal. And so, just grilling, or if you have a smoker, that's a great activity to do right now. Just like you could just set that thing up and work on something all day.
Yeah, I think
Mhm.
this weekend, I think, and then this week I have a pork shoulder that's going to go in the oven at like 250 for like 12 hours. Yeah, it's going to start in the morning, spend the rest of your day doing things. So very exciting.
Great
Oh,
slow cooking.
my mind just went blank for a second, and I just saw like an internal scroll of the word brisket.
Just like
Time to start. It's time to start. People would talk about doing exercise and stuff at home. It's always a tough thing to get motivated on that one. Because it's like, do I really want to do that? But sometimes even 5-10 minutes of like yoga or stretching, especially when you're sitting in front of these computers all day, can make a huge difference. I mean, I know myself, if I don't move around, I'm miserable. And
I have like sorry.
No, go ahead.
Well, I have an online yoga teacher I've been using for years. Yoga with Adrienne, she's really great. But also I have a friend in Nashville, and she's been supporting her local yoga studio because they've been putting on online classes. So I think if people can either, just exercise for your own health, or see how you can support these local gyms that are out of work right now.
That's true.
Yeah.
And a lot of them are like suggested donation.
Yeah.
I have a friend on Facebook who's got like ballet classes, and they got adult and kids. And I was like, I've always wanted to take ballet classes, but I can't afford Alvin Ailey. Like,
Right. It's how to do it. Yeah.
It's funny. I think that something like playing video games isn't really a terribly physical activity. And yes, of course, there's the Nintendo Wii and other things, but I've been playing Rainbow Six with some old friends from college recently. And I forgot how riled up we all get when we're playing. Like you're sitting there and you're like, God, you're going nuts. You got the heart going. You fall over the back of the couch. You got to walk all the way around. You're getting your steps in. It actually works out.
Yeah, I give everyone the warning. If I saw on Facebook a friend, it's like a Facebook friend, someone like tore their hand apart wearing VR goggles because they're swinging the end around and they hit in the wall and they like split their and they go get stitches.
Well, tell them that's like Beat Simulator 2000. I mean, that's a terrible game. It's like bees everywhere. It's gonna happen.
I know. Gene, one of the other people Valiant here. He's been doing these racing simulators for real, and like he gets super serious about it. Like if you're like if you want to get Gene
he's a
going,
racer IRL. So.
IRL, yeah, right, and like real cars, and so now he's like practicing on these, and they had to put them together. So it's online, but it's pretty physical though because it's like racing a car. You know, it's like that's like focus. And
he's got the whole real setup too. Like the other VR stuff is if you don't have something already, it's going to be hard to get stuff for it. But if you do have it, that seems like a really fun way to spend
absolutely.
Well, I mean, things that don't take a lot of equipment. Now's the time to start doing art. Like, I know Amazon is not 2-day delivery, but you can wait a week and get some cheap brushes and canvas and stuff, or like draw or anything. One thing that we do here is, and I've got my 11-year-old stepdaughter, is we make our own board games. Like we've exhausted all the board games that we have, and just a simple like roll the dice, try to get to the end, but then you can make up in the middle, like go back 2 spaces or things like that. It's really easy, and you can just bloop, bloop, bloop. It's really fun.
That's very cool. Yeah.
Draw and color, and you can use regular paper. It's fine. It's temporary.
And,
if you don't have a dice, you can flip a coin, but most people have a dice in their home.
Even if you don't have things around, I mean, look, you could make Play-Doh out of just a few ingredients that you most likely have in your pantry. And it also makes it edible and way safer than some of the other stuff out there. It's not crazy, but it's
you shouldn't eat it, but
no.
Touching surfaces and
no, you
could do also what's the other one? Cornstarch and water.
Yeah,
that's
non-Newtonian liquid.
Goo, which is fun to play with.
A craft I love to do. I don't know if I never got to do these as kids, but I actually got really into it as an adult, which is kind of weird. But these little perler beads, have you guys ever?
Oh yeah.
They're such like a
you can make like
thing.
8-bit images.
Video game style pixel art, and oh man, I just get sucked into it for like a good, an hour will go by, and I'll just been putting those beads into place.
That's a cheap, an inexpensive hobby too. Like if hopefully you already have an iron, but other than that, you just buy the little perler beads. They're really affordable, and you can get a ton of different colors.
Huh. Yeah, and you can also get those from a lot of different craft stores that are currently offering curbside delivery to your car.
That's true.
That's true. You go on premises into a shop to purchase them.
Yeah.
Sometimes you need to do that because you might need those colors that you don't have. That's been me. I'll bet Michael's like twice in a day because I'm like, damn, I don't have the right shade of blue for this.
I need 3 different shades of blue to make Mega Man.
Exactly. That's fun. It's great. Yeah. It's and one thing we just want to say, like as a lot of people sometimes feel pressure to be productive right now, and it's at the and definitely don't. I mean, if it helps you feel good and keep yourself occupied, then absolutely do it. Learn new things, whatever that is. If you don't, man, just watch TV and just watch The Godfather. I mean, maybe whatever.
Yeah.
Go back to movies you haven't seen for years. That might be good, or just go for whatever. Just kind of take it easy.
I have never seen The Godfather. I've never seen any of the movies, and now that you said,
now's a good time.
This is a good.
But again, no pressure. If that feels like you're being pressured to do something, just rewatch The Office. You don't have to start new horizons.
Exactly.
I'm going to do that this week, and I'm going to check out The Godfather. It's one of those things I probably should have seen a long, long time ago.
Yeah, I mean, I think there's a lot of pressure to do stuff that you're like, oh, I never had time for, so now I have to, and then that like adds to your anxiety. So even things that like like I started doing meditation, thankfully, before we started doing that, and that's great. And I use Insight Timer if you want a free app. But if like it's like starting meditation and I'm so bad at it and things like that, I just don't do it. It's fine. If your meditation is replaying Stardew Valley for the 5th time,
go for it.
For the first time for me, yeah.
Oh god, it's so great. Do that
I've
one.
been having a lot of fun with that.
So anyway, our last little discussion point was things to do with kids. Actually, was I have 3 kids, and it's one of those things that, like, you know, when you're trying to keep them occupied, you don't want them to sit in front of television all day or watching YouTube all day, you know, because they'll do that if you let them. So some of the stuff that there's some great ideas that we have on this list here that Phil sent us. Play us some music. Just have them like learn new music they never heard before. Like, you know, even just 2 minutes before we started talking here, we had a bunch of new. We just talking about music no one ever heard of. Like, you know, I was like, oh, I never heard that. So it's good stuff. Or the one I like the best here is A Classic Pillow Fort. I don't know who put that on the list.
Yes.
That is literally the greatest thing ever. Like, I don't know if you guys have done that recently. It's a pretty fun thing.
Pillow forts are the best, man.
Yeah, I might be doing that this weekend, even without kids, because that sounds like fun.
Just
get all the pillows together.
Yeah, I don't think that was in the kids section, George. I think that
it's in Justin. I think it's Justin's.
You guys realize normally when you're doing these streams, I'm off camera taking care of everything else in my pillow fort.
I figured that's what you are.
It's got.
Well, we did talk earlier this week about setting up a good.
It's amazing.
Yeah, we talked about setting up a good work from home situation. So
the pillow fort,
ergonomics of a pillow fort.
One thing we might have missed earlier is if you can, it's maybe a good time to start a small aquarium. If you just something to take care of, something to focus on. I know that's something that's close to Matt's heart. He has some amazing. I mean, there's some amazing stuff he's doing in the aquarium space that with these shrimps that is like super complicated.
Part shrimp, part organized crime, which goes back to The Godfather. You know, we got the Shrimpy Boy gang.
Exactly. Shrimpy Boy gang, right.
Here we go.
Oh, wow.
Look at those things.
Oh my god, they're so cute. Yeah. And little Tetris in the back.
So I mean, I think you can get like in our office we had a beta for Marion took care of for years. That thing survived. I mean,
it was 2.5 years, and then we got a new one.
Well, that happens to betas, but that's a long time for a beta. It's not an instant out. Yeah.
Well, and if anyone's nervous, Val Gilmer is doing fine. We do have someone who goes into the office a little bit regularly, and he's been getting fed. And I just got a report today, alive and kicking.
Yes, right. Ryan was at the office. Say thank you, Ryan, for going. I did get a report that the kegerator might not have made it. So
no.
That
beer is definitely not good anymore.
But we had to check the seals. We poor Ryan has to clean it up because you don't want ants.
That kind of didn't make it.
Yeah, no ants.
So we're not making any beer bread with that stuff anymore.
No.
So offline activities, cleaning, don't bother.
Actually, gardening might be a great one. That's in there.
It's the perfect time of year here in the Northeast to get started with seedlings. You can do a lot of different herbs, some small plants. It's early. It's a little too early for things like lettuces. I think that's a little bit later in the year. It's down is when you harvest, but now is a good time. And normally that's something I would be doing indoors. I haven't done any of the hydroponic kind of herb garden stuff for the past year or so, and you guys are literally giving me a list of things to do this weekend.
Yeah,
awesome.
That's the goal.
Hardware stores do curbside pickup, or some places deliver. You can get like bulbs delivered and stuff like that. So
I wanted to touch back on the listening to music, because I think we kind of glossed over that. There's not just listening to, because I feel like especially when we're I listen to music in the car or when I'm commuting, or we're talking about listening to podcasts while commuting, and it's been a while since I've just like sat and listened to music. And one of the things I've been doing and been having fun is making playlists. I know we talked about this. Valiant has some playlists on Spotify that we've done in the past, but I've just been putting stuff together, and it feels like the old making a mixtape. It's not holding it up to the radio to record it, but even that, just being able to listen, like as opposed to just having something on in the background, making it like an active activity has been a good way to pass time.
That's a great
music
idea.
is a beautiful way to pass time. I think that we listen to a ton of music in the office. Our lounge in the kitchen, in the hallway. We're always got something going through there. There's tons of stuff to listen to, and you got to check out some of Phil's stuff on YouTube.
Yeah.
He's got an entire channel. If in fact, we're gonna push his site real quick. If you want to go there and check out GC Main.
Yeah. There's definitely a couple of days in the office where Matt had what was it, one song on loop for 8 hours,
8 hours.
one video playing. Nobody knew how to change it, and those of us that knew how to change it didn't want to.
It's one of those things. Like, I think it was the song about falling in the ball pit, and if you say ball pit in the office, it's like people get triggered for a second.
Yeah.
A day. It's
that
like
one's pretty chill. At least if you're gonna have it on a loop. I'm glad it wasn't something about like the ice cream machine was broken. That one's kind of a little more aggressive. So.
That sounded
but it's also incredibly accurate. I mean, you've got a line in there about the 42nd Street Manhattan McDonald's and the ice cream machine never working. And shout out to McDonald's. Yes, you're delicious, but fix your ice cream machines, please.
I mean, that's got to be by design at the 42nd Street because it just takes too long, right?
Yeah. There's no actual ice cream.
Conspiracy theory. Fun craft you can do with your kids. Make tinfoil hats.
Oh.
Before we go too far off, I wanted to suggest about the whole listening to music. We've been breaking open our vinyl collection, which I think a lot of people have had vinyl and they've just held on to it for a long time, or a lot of people have gotten back into it. But yeah, I mean, it's such a great way. Like you were saying, as far as listening to music goes, it's like such a more active experience because you have to pick the record, of course, and you have to sit down and flip it, as it goes. And maybe that sounds silly, but I think it's like you get such a passive experience from your streaming service. You put it on, you don't even realize it's been playing for 2 hours and you haven't been paying attention, which is what you want sometimes. But like our internet went out for about a half a day. I think it was this weekend. And so the records were so clutch because we were like, well, we don't need any YouTube or Spotify or, we're just going to go pick a few records out. And it was a great time.
Yeah, it's like really active listening. It's very
cool. There's also a bit of a tactile side of it. When we're listening to streaming music, we don't get a chance to look at lyrics the same way we used to. We don't see the album art and all the effort that goes into that. I mean, if you think about it, for many years between vinyl, cassette, CDs, even if you remember the early 90s when you'd get a CD and they came in like the really long packaging, Sam Goody. I can't tell you how many albums I still own because of those items, and streaming does take away from that a little bit. I mean, it's got its pluses and its minuses, but even being able to sit there and hold the album art in your hands and, fiddle with trying to get your vinyl back in those dust jackets. I mean, the vein in the forehead pops out trying to get that thing in there. It's part of the experience.
Or going to a record store. I mean, you nostalgia for like going to a record store and having someone recommend like browsing or recommendations from the like the staff or like in Long Island there's people called Slip Disc Records and Valley Stream that had all this stuff, and that was like you go there and it was like what was hot, and it wasn't what's the top 40 hot. It was like what was hot in that 90s. From my age here, but that 90s alternative music scene kind of thing. So
it's a big deal. And you know what? I'm going to help you out. You feel like you just dated yourself. I'm going to take a step back to help a little bit. I was at a record store here in Long Island not too long ago, and I just kind of walked in because I was waiting for some food to be made at the place next door. And there's certain things you're going to find in those record stores that you're not going to see online. You're not going to find them in other places. Like, hopefully you guys can see this, but I mean, one of the best bands ever as far as I'm concerned. You can't see it and it's all reversed. But
Specials.
One of their singles from like the early 80s for like $3 recently.
Right.
And it was just one of those things. Yeah, I could put them on to Spotify and I could listen to all their stuff, but to be able to listen to one of their albums on vinyl that was from, when I was like 3 or 4 years old and just sit there and take it in has been cathartic's not really, I think, the right word, but just like a really fun, pleasant thing to do in the middle of everything that's going on.
Yeah,
I know.
So while we're talking about like musicians and art and stuff like that, I question and I've been thinking about it, and Phil, maybe you have good insight into this. What are some good ways that we can, while we're getting on with that, we can support like different artists and musicians now. I mean, I know I used to didn't go to a ton of shows, but used to go every once in a while, or even just being out at a bar where there's live music playing and things like that. And it feels like, all that's disappeared right now. What are some good ways that we, as consumers of that media, we can help the people who are creating it?
Yeah.
Oh, I've seen some interesting stuff. I mean, I would say probably just to shoehorn this in there that everybody should, at this point, if you're trying to support an artist, like go buy their record from them, whether it's just their website or or if they're doing things like live streams, they usually have Venmos or tip jars. And on a more, on a bigger note for, satisfying that itch of going to a show, I've seen some really cool things where people are doing Zoom shows. So my friend is a DJ. Shout out to Andy Lubner if he's watching. But he does these weekly shows every Friday night where people can sign into the Zoom party, and it's like, really, it's big. It's like 50 people on it at one time. And he'll play the music live, and then somebody else will be kind of like highlighting different people. So they all kind of, put on either silly stuff or club, what am I trying to say? Just stuff to show off is what I'm trying to say.
Right.
And so everybody gets a chance to be on the screen. And then most of the time it's just the whole Zoom party, like you're seeing 25 people at a time. And I think that's really cool that people should look out for those and support anybody that's doing it, because it's good for the artist, but it's also good for the people to be able to see each other and have that common experience,
There's a lot of that going on right now. There's a musician, Cooley Ranks from Pilfers, who's been to the office before. He's a big friend of Valiant's, and he's been doing live streams from Facebook on a regular basis, and they've been great, not only because he's playing some music, some things that people may have never heard before, but he's actually just doing it from the inside of his car to get out of his own place. And it's fun to watch. Sometimes, the topics are maybe not the most positive things going on right now, but he puts that music on, you hear the bright horns of the ska music. It's like Robitussin for the soul. That makes no sense.
It totally makes sense.
I mean, there are a lot of things like that. I would suggest that people go on to Facebook and do a quick search for Supernova Saturdays. He hosted that a couple weeks ago. Dan Pottis from MU330 hosted last week, and unfortunately I missed it, which bums me out still. But there's so much good stuff going on online right now. You just have to seek it out. It's everywhere.
I mean, you even said. I would say you said it might not be the most positive, but it is. Comedians are doing that too.
Comedians are really great.
I know Megan and I both separately, not together, but took classes at the People's Improv Theater, and they're doing this thing, socially distant improv. So it's usually like Instagram live stories, and it might just be two people improving back and forth from wherever they live. Or sometimes if they live with the comedian, they can have two people together at the same time. But it's really cool. So look up your local comedians, your local, improv clubs, and check that out, because that's really fun.
Donate if you can.
And donate if you can.
Either way goes a long way. Yeah.
Or even, I am going to say something that I loved, which isn't an indie thing, but the cast of The Nanny did a script reading of the pilot, and it was amazing. So you can YouTube that, and you can see Fran Drescher, who still looks amazing. And,
It would be great to see more things like that happening. Like, could you imagine if there was a live table read of like the first episode of Perfect Strangers? Like, just bring Balky back. Balky Bartokimus 2020.
I think we know our next episode.
Or do it yourself. I mean, my friend and I are going to do the importance of being earnest, because it's free on Kindle. So that's a really fun, silly one.
Such a fun play to do. Yeah. I got real excited. I just
Lady Bruckner. Everyone gets to put on a really stupid accent.
All right. Well, on that note, Lady Bracknell, I probably said it wrong. I think we're going to wrap it up. If you guys have anything else you want to add, I think we're pretty good. We might be over time a little bit. Okay. We're not so bad, though. We're not too far over time. But I really, say, Phil, thank you so much for coming on. Really great. We'll have you come back again for maybe a follow-up episode when meetings are back to normal, and we can have a little more sense changing down.
That sounds wonderful.
So, we all kind of say it's been tough being indoors and doing this, but I think we're all kind of doing it together. It's kind of a shared experience. It's global. And, hey, if you have a chance, get away from the computer for a couple minutes, maybe read a book. The other thing, make a phone call. wander around. You don't see the person to have that weird phone call, but a totally different environment. So at that, please like and subscribe us. Check it out, thevaliantway.com. And so our next session, we're going to go back to our more tech-heavy kind of focus. We're going to do something not fun in a little bit. The antithesis of this one. Yeah. And I really hope you strongly recommend coming to this one. It's going to kind of break down some of the coronavirus, COVID-19 scams we're seeing online. Just so that we get some education out there. Cybersecurity. We think it's one of the biggest threats right now. Everyone's working from home, so we want to get that out there. Justin and I don't know how we're going to do it yet exactly, but we're definitely going to go out there and break it down into something that's going to be usable and helpful for everybody. So please like and subscribe that. All right. Yeah. Thank you.
Phil, if you're ever in New York, we can give you a drink from our kegger.
It'll be back.
It'll be back. It'll be back. It'll be like a phoenix rise from the ashes. Yeah. All right. Very good.
Better than ever.
Thanks, everybody.
Thanks, everybody.
Thank you.